Yes, we are managing. We are managing. We are managing to see. All right then. But let's listen to this advert quickly, and then we'll continue. I'll bring you the details. I'll take you global trotting. My apologies there. Well, in celebration of Black History Month, BB Clement presents Afro Global Networking Lounge 2025. Speaker Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. The event is taking place on Monday, the 27th of October 2025 from 12 noon to 3 p.m. The venue is Stevenson Howard LLP 1 Finsbury Green Circus, City of London, EC2 7SH. Please note, this is an exclusive event with limited spaces. For more information, contact reception at augustinclement.com or call 0203 223 0800. The fee comes at £60 for ordinary ticket and £75 for VIPs. This program is sponsored by Stevenson Howard and hosted by BB Clement. Okay, so you know what is happening for the Black History Month. The BB Clement presenting Afro Global Network Launch 2025, and that is taking place this coming Tuesday, that's the 27th of October, from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Yeah, 60 quid. Yeah, that's cool for ordinary ticket, and for VIP 75. I know there are limited spaces, and therefore if you have to, please, like now, if you haven't done it, do it. All right then. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, now let me take you global trotting. Now, from the UK front, four survivors say minister must quit for them to rejoin grooming inquiry. The government is standing by safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips as the grooming gang row deepens. Well, someone saying that, well, she should have just said, well, though there have been these accusations, blah blah blah, we will see to it. But to come out to blatantly say they are false and stuff like that, that's why it's not gone well for them. But whatever it is, then you state you're going to be bringing more on that. King Charles has met Pope for the first time ahead of praying together in the Sistine Chapel. All right, and Tess Daly and Claudia Winkleman to leave Strictly Come Dancing at the end of this series. Some stories making the rounds there. Weather warning reduced as Storm Benjamin moves east. Okay, bye, Storm Benjamin. Now, France backing away from play to intercept migrant boats. Sources, that's what information that is coming through is saying. A Southport killer childline call was referred to police inquiry. Inquiries have been told. A metal detectorist digs up massive haul of Roman coins in virtually untouched areas of Wales. That's quite an interesting one, you know. He's hit a jackpot. All right then. In other stories making the rounds in the world, Trump says Putin talks don't go anywhere as he imposes new sanctions. But is he calling the shot really, or is he just trying to well, the US has announced new sanctions on Rosneft and Lukoil, Russia's two largest oil companies, over continued fighting in Ukraine. And Black House hit Russia, Belgorod, as Ukrainian drone attacks surge and 10 dead in a blast at Russian munition plant in Urals. Reports have said there as well. In other stories, Rubio warns against West Bank annexation after Israel's parliament advances moves. Well, would they listen to him at all? Okay, and 40 migrants, including infants, die as boat sinks off Tunisian coast. And then in other stories making the rounds, the details of them all. What at stake as Trump both strikes strain U.S. Colombia alliance, and Bob Sply as Madani and Cuomo meet in final furious New York mayoral debate. Let's see what is going to happen. Are we going to be getting the Republicans voting the Democrats out of it? But we will see what's going to happen there. Trump says existing structure of White House East Wing to be torn down. A U.S. Access website for reporting human rights abuses by U.S. armed foreign forces. Yeah. All right then. Let's move on to other stories making the rounds this morning as well. Ecuador releases survivor of U.S. strike on drug sap in Caribbean, and Colombian court overturns former president's conviction. Okay, let's see what is happening there. And Belize agrees to host migrants seeking asylum in U.S. All right then. Brazil grants oil exploration license in Amazon region to who? What country are they from or aligned to? I'll be telling you more about that. Now, in other stories there as well, Israel has identified bodies of 2 hostages retained by Hamas, so they seem to be bringing them slowly and gently, trying to find them there. But we'll tell you more about all that as we continue with the show. Now, Myanmar's army is taking back territory with relentless airstrikes and China's help. So China has thrown its weight behind the junta and its widely condemned plan to hold an election in December. And then toxic air is back again in Delhi. Well, they had their celebrations. Is it Dulani or Dilani? And that the fireworks alone, I told you, the next day to be and lo and behold. Now, strong winds in New Zealand leave tens of thousands without power, and Gen Z rising why young Indians aren't taking to the street. Well, are they scared? Are they, I want to say, are they chickens? All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London at 11:22. On the African front, an ex-first lady, a tycoon, and a safe pair of hands vie for power in the cocoa superpower. The fervor of presidential campaign bellies concerns about the political landscape in Ivory Coast. How is the election going to be going? We're going to be telling you more about that, and how the outsourcing sector became South Africa's newest gold mine. Okay, an American missionary reportedly kidnapped in Niger. Top opposition politician arrested days before Tanzanian election. And Cameroon judge rejects election rigging complaints. Okay, here we go. Well, so now let's move on to some other stories making the rounds still on the African front. First domestic flights landed in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, since war began. And then Cameroon vote results imminent as Chiroma insists he won. Well, and it continues there. One dead as Cameroon awaits election results in chaotic tensions. We'll be telling you more about that. And in Uganda as well, at least 46 dead after 2 buses collided on one of the Ugandans' highways. Well, it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. And in Cape Town, South Africa, school bullying video has triggered outrage that has led to 8 suspensions. Suspension of who? Students or teachers? We'll tell you more about that. Okay, in other stories making the rounds this morning from Nigeria, breaking Nnamdi Kanu defends self in court as lead counsel Agabi Ade's sons withdraw. Well, let's see what is going to be saying on that front. Lots more going to be coming your way from there. An Electoral Act NAS member proposes shifting litigation burdens to the INEC. And ex-minister Turaki emerges not in PDP consensus candidate for chairmanship. Representatives probe Jonathan's 460 million CCTV projects. Wow. This all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Is it because we've had inkling that Jonathan is hoping to vie for the presidency? Let's see. Kadehine steps down after 21 years amidst fierce resistance from subordinates. And who is the Kadehine? My apologies. Kadehine. Okay. Okay, let's move on. In other stories making the rounds, police arrest 5 Nigerians in human trafficking and cybercrime bursts. 57 victims rescued. And 1 shot dead, 3 injured on 34 arrested during Ujura Festival in Ebri. I'll be telling you more about that as well. Godfield's appointment of engineer Karim signals innovation and excellence, Ebo Newton is saying there. And still making the rounds from Ghana. Oral data included garbage entries collected without verification. Domolevo is also saying there. We'll be telling you more about what its implication is going to be for cases that are supposed to be prosecuted. Professor Okoye proposes service contract approach to manage what? You want to know? Stay tuned. I'm going to be telling you more about all that. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Saboteurs offer 20 Ghana cities inducement to derail and destroy Afienya rail tracks. Well, you want to know more, you got to stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you more on that front. But this is Starr Radio UK. We take a break, we come back, and I bring you all the details of the stories that is making the round this morning. Stay tuned. Don't touch the dial. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, in celebration of Black History Month, BB Clement presents Afro Global Networking Lounge 2025. Speaker, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. The event is taking place on Monday, the 27th of October 2025 from 12 noon to 3 p.m. The venue is Stevenson Howard LLP 1 Finsbury Green Circus, City of London, EC2 7SH. Please note, this is an exclusive event with limited spaces. For more information, contact reception at augustinclement.com or call 0203-223-0800. The fee comes at £60 for ordinary ticket and $75 for VIPs. This program is sponsored by Stevenson Howard and hosted by BB Clement.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. This is Starr Radio UK. It's now gone exactly 11:29. Yes, and it is the Thursday edition of the morning show. Now let me bring you the details of some of the stories that is making the rounds that we've touched on this morning. Wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Now kicking off from the home, from home here in the UK. Information coming through says the group of 4 abuse survivors are demanding Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips resign in a list of conditions for them to rejoin the grooming gang inquiry. The 4 women have accused Phillips of betrayal over a letter where she described reports the scope of inquiry could be expanded as untrue. They also called for their victim liaison officer to go, and along with Phillips' exit, said this would mean the government was serious about accountability, as well as continuing to call for a judge to chair the inquiry. Now, Children's Minister George McAllister has said Phillips has the full backing of the Prime Minister and Home Secretary and will not be asked to go. The national inquiry into the sexual exploitation of children by grooming gangs in England and Wales was announced by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer in June. The Prime Minister said the inquiry would have the power to compel witnesses to be questioned and will be guided by a panel of survivors, which BBC understands had at least 20 members at the start. Now, there has been turmoil over the past week with Fiona Goddard and Ellie Reynolds quitting the survivors panel in the inquiry on Monday, and two more known as Elizabeth and Jess following them on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Now, they all wrote open letters citing similar concerns around the inquiry being widened beyond grooming gangs, tight controls on what they could say, who they could speak to, and potential inquiry chairs having links to policing and social care alongside expertise in tackling child abuse. Now, Phillips published a letter on Tuesday warning there was misinformation swirling around the inquiry and seeking to set the record straight, saying that taking 4 months to appoint a chair was not unusual for large public inquiries and was not evidence of a cover-up. However, she wrote that reports the government is not seeking to dilute the focus of the inquiry, either by instructing it to take a regional approach to investigation or by expanding the scope beyond grooming gangs, were also untrue, insisting its scope will be later focused as Baroness Casey recommended. This appears have sparked anger among the 4 survivors who write in their letter to the Home Secretary they had raised legitimate concerns around the inquiry direction, but in response, your safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, called our accounts untrue. They wrote, being publicly contradicted and dismissed by a government minister when you are a survivor, telling the truth takes you right back to the feeling of not being believed all over again. It is a betrayal that destroyed what little trust remained. All right then. So what do you think that Jess Phillips should go? Because she came up blatantly to say that what they were saying was false? Or what do you think? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on. King Charles and Queen Camilla are praying with the Pope in the Sistine Chapel. The King is the first head of the Church of England to pray publicly with the Pope in a symbolic display of unity with the Catholic Church. The service is taking place in the Park Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, where what we know, the monarch is supreme governor of the Church of England and has been a long-standing campaigner for building bridges between faiths. Now, this visit comes against the backdrop of the scandal surrounding Prince Andrew and the palace king, to make sure it doesn't overshadow the event. The symbolism of Pope and King praying together nearly 500 years after the Church of England split from Rome is striking. Now, so too is a gesture of recognizing the role Anglo-Saxon rulers played in the upkeep of the beautiful Basilica of St. Paul's outside the walls. But of course, the relationship between the church, of which the King is Supreme Governor, and the Vatican had already come a very long way since 1950, since 1534. Okay, my apologies. The two churches work together on numerous global projects and issues. The late Pope Francis and former Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, even traveled together to South Sudan to try to encourage peace. As a prince with a profound interest in faith, King Charles has visited popes at the Vatican before. Now, Pope Francis is, in return, was known to have a great deal of respect for the late Queen Elizabeth. Now, so while the images from the Vatican today will be historic, the groundwork for these moments have been laid over decades and indeed centuries of coming together. Okay, so they are all sitting there, they are all praying together. What are they praying? Peace of the world, or what? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Those of you on the YouTube channel, just bear with us. Just bear with us. It seems to be having some issue there, so just bear with us. Just bear with us there. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. My sincere apologies there. The image was frozen there, but wasn't sure exactly what was happening until we were in. Okay, so let me say thank you to my producer once again for a good work being done there. All right then. Stay tuned. Don't touch the dial. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's take a quick break and let's the second card team sort the YouTube bit for you there so you can see us live on it once again. So just bear with us. Just bear with us whilst we get that done. Well, in celebration of Black History Month, BB Clement presents Afro Global Networking Lounge 2025. Speaker, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. The event is taking place on Monday, the 27th of October 2025 from 12 noon to 3 p.m. The venue is Stevenson Howard LLP 1 Finsbury Green Circus, City of London, EC2 7SH. Please note, this is an exclusive event with limited spaces. For more information, contact reception at augustinclement.com or call 0203 223 0800. The fee comes at £60 for ordinary ticket and £75 for VIPs. This program is sponsored by Stevenson Howard and hosted by BB Clement. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactement 11:39. The line will be activated in the next 6 minutes. However, if you want to post any of your comments on the platform, feel free to do so. I promise you one thing for sure, that I'm gonna read that. Okay, Yes, so wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So now let's go to other parts of the world. Okay, all right, so now in other parts of the world as well, with what is happening, now we were waiting for Trump to have another meeting with the Russian leader. However, it seems to have been called off. The U.S. has announced new sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies in an effort to pressure Moscow to negotiate a peace deal in Ukraine. The announcement came one day after U.S. President Donald Trump said a planned meeting with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Budapest will be shelved indefinitely. Now, every time I speak to Vladimir, I have good conversation and they don't go anywhere, Trump said. Now, while the economic impact to Russia is likely to be minimal, it represents a major shift in Trump's foreign policy, having previously said he will not impose sanctions until European nations cease buying Russian oil. The Kremlin said Russia was immune to the sanctions. Now, Trump had repeatedly threatened to toughen measures against Moscow, but has avoided them until now, in hopes of brokering a peace deal in the 3.5-year-long invasion. His administration has sought to cast the U.S. as a somewhat neutral mediator between the two warring nations after years of full-throated support for Ukraine from his predecessor Joe Biden. But the U.S. president has grown increasingly exasperated with the Kremlin over its failure to move forward with negotiations. The sanctions are also something Ukraine leader Volodymyr Zelensky has been for months calling for. He said they were a good signal from the U.S., adding that the ceasefire was possible if other nations applied more pressure on Russia. But which other nations are they waiting for them to apply more pressure on Russia? Which other nations? Because if they are waiting for some nations to come in to apply that, boy, I can tell you assuredly it's going to take them a very long time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is the Thursday edition of the morning show, and we are still on. So let's get on with it. Okay, a few there. Okay, let's see what is happening. Those of you using the on the YouTube, can you somebody say, can you film me? Can you see any of the broadcasts on there? If you can, okay. All right then. I think I'm not sure whether I can see that there, but I think we might have gotten a breakthrough there, right? Okay, it's all coming away from Star Radio UK. Yeah, it's only two that have started, and we are on. Okay, so I think it's working now. It's now gone 11:44, so we're moving swiftly because you can see me without my glasses, and I've been doing my best not to strain my eyes, but still be able to bring you the program. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, so yeah, the move by the Trump administration, do you think is going to bring anything different from all that we've seen all this while? Well. Somebody said, ooh. I will see what happens. Maybe it will cause Russia to come to the table and this time around do what they are supposed to do. Now, the three leading candidates for mayor of New York City traded blows at their final debate on Wednesday night, a last attempt to show voters their ideas and leadership style. And this time, they had an audience, supporters and spectators packed a university auditorium to cheer and occasionally chide them. Over 90 minutes, three moderators touched on housing, Israel, Gaza, and the current occupant of the White House. Now, this was a little new ground covered from the last week's showdown, but the debate was treated as the last high-profile chance to sell a vision before Election Day on the 4th of November. Democrats Zoran Mamdani remained the candidate to beat. Recent polls suggest he holds a double-digit lead over his key opponent, Republican Curtis Sliwa and Independent Andrew Cuomo. So let's see what is going to happen there. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right. Now, still on the international front, because of time, so we have to hop now. We have to hop now, and let's come to the African front. Now, if you want to dial in or you want to call the studio, just call us via Teams, and that is Starr Radio UK. Just call us via that, and you will get us on there. Yes, look for Starr Radio UK via Teams, and you can call in. All right then. Yes, we're still moving on. I can see, right? All right then. Now, the Ivorian election is virtually over this weekend, Saturday. So we've got about a few hours, 48 hours for the election to take place. But dancing dominates campaign rallies in Ivory Coast, but the polls in energy and favor Bailey's concerns about the political landscape in the world's largest cocoa producer. Now, Saturday's presidential vote in the West African nation is notable. It's as notable for the candidates who have been banned from running as for those who are vying for the top job. Now, while incumbent President Alassane Ouattara, a hero to some for bringing growth over the 15 years to a country following a brutal civil war, is facing a backlash from those who see the 83-year-old's fourth term bid as a slap in the face of democracy, even though his candidacy is allowed by the constitution. Prominent opposition leader Tijani Thiam was disqualified in April after a court ruled that he had forfeited his Ivorian citizenship when he became French in 1987, a ruling that he disputed, while former President Laurent Gbagbo was barred because of his 2018 criminal conviction there. It was Gbagbo's refusal to accept defeat to Ouattara in a runoff vote in 2010 that sparked a post-election conflict that left more than 3,000 people dead and traumatized a nation vital to the global supply of chocolate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio UK, still on the African front, and let's see some of the other stories making the rounds there as well. Well, they've been and we are waiting for the result. But I'm going to be telling you more about what is happening in Cameroon. But at the moment, in Tanzania as well, a senior official of Tanzanian main opposition party has been arrested amid a crackdown on dissenting voices ahead of next week's general election. John Heche, deputy chairperson of the Chadema, was detained while attempting to attend the treason trial of party leader Tundu Lissu. In a statement, Chadema alleged that the government planned to arrest senior party leaders and detain them until after the election, which will take place on the 29th of October. The government has responded to these accusations. Chadema said Archie was apprehended as he arrived at the High Court in Dar es Salaam on Wednesday. The party also alleged that Archie is being transported to Tarami, a northern town more than 1,300 kilometers away from Dar es Salaam. Now, the police have not commented on the arrest, which was Archie's second detention in a week. On Saturday, he was briefly held as he attempted to cross into neighboring Kenya, reportedly to attend the burial of former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Tanzania Immigration Department said in a statement that Archie had attempted to illegally cross the border, but Chadema dismissed his allegation. How can he illegally try to cross that? But well, that's what is happening there. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, let's come to Cameroon, where it seemed to be all coming down to this. Judges in Cameroon have dismissed calls for the partial or total cancellation of the heavily disputed presidential election, saying they will announce the results on Monday. Now, major cities in the country have been rocked by protests, with opposition supporters alleging that 12th October poll was marred by irregularities, including ballot stuffing. Now, judges on the Constitutional Council dismissed 8 petitions citing insufficient evidence of irregularities or lack of jurisdiction and annulled results. Now, opposition candidate Isa Chiroma Bakari has declared himself the winner, a claim rejected by the allies of the 92-year-old President Paul Biya, who is seeking another 7-year term. Now, Biya has been in power for 43 years and addressed only one campaign rally ahead of his election. Chiroma Bakari, 76, is a former government spokesperson who broke ranks with Biya to challenge him for power. But what do you think is going to happen there? Ladies and gentlemen, Starr Radio UK at exactly 9 minutes to the top of the hour, and we are still here. Well, Cameroon's top court on Wednesday dismissed that, as I did read earlier on, the 10 petition challenging the October 12th exercise was sent to the council. Now, they included allegations of ballot stuffing, intimidation, and other illegalities. The council argued that the petitioners failed to produce sufficient evidence to back their claims. On Wednesday, candidate Isa Chiroma repeated his claim that he won the vote, saying he will not accept any other results. If they prefer to threaten the serenity and peace of the country rather than admit defeat, we will respond with a peaceful determination of the people, Chiroma said in an address in his official campaign platform. Unofficial results have shown incumbent President Paul Biya is in the lead. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Apathy and unease ahead of Ivory Coast polls after protests in Abidjan. As I did say, there's lots going on there, but I'll be telling you more about that, God willing, tomorrow as the election draws near. Okay, now let's go to Nigeria as well. The trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, at the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Thursday, assumed a twist following a withdrawal of his lead counsel Kanu Agabi and other senior advocates of Nigeria representing him in the trial. Now, as at a resumed trial, Agabi and other sons applied to the court to withdraw their legal representation of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Agabi informed the trial judge James Omotosho that the defendant took the case back from his legal team, adding that all the senior advocates in the matter on behalf of Kanu stand withdrawn from the suit. However, the Embattled Freedom Crusader says for now he would be representing himself, but that may change later in his ongoing trial over alleged treason, terrorism charges. Now, when Justice Omotosho inquired to know if Kano should be given a lawyer, the defendant answered in the negative. Meanwhile, Kano, in his oral submission, has insisted before the judge that the court lacks the jurisdiction to try him. Why is he saying so? Well, you want to know more, you got to stay tuned, because God willing, tomorrow I'm going to be bringing you more on that front, because it's all unraveling. It's all unraveling. But well, okay, one more that has come through. Let me bring that your way. It looks like activists on Moyele Showore on Thursday met with Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, at Abuja Federal High Court on Thursday. In a video, Kanu is seen greeting and hugging Showore warmly. Accompanying the post, Showore wrote, "Finally, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and I met at the Federal High Court today. The man is powerful and unrelenting. We greeted and hugged, and the bond is strong. Hashtag free Nnamdi Kanu now." Earlier on Monday, Showore had led Kanu's lawyer Ejumako and his brother Prince Emmanuel to hashtag free Nnamdi Kanu protest in Abuja. The demonstration was dispersed by the police, who arrested Ejumako, Prince Emmanuel, and other participants. They were arraigned before a magistrate court in Kuje and remanded in Kuje prison. Meanwhile, Kanu has indicated his intention to defend himself, as we've said earlier on. Oh my! Someone's freedom fighter is another one's terrorist, right? So that seems to be the way it all flows. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be running the program out pretty soon, because this eyes can see, yeah. By the president, let me bring you that. The World Trade Center, Accra, known as Creating Innovative, Creating Innovative Services for International Businesses, connects over 750,000 companies and organizations to global network. However, what was once a symbol of international business innovation is now grappling with serious infrastructure challenges. Business activities at the center has also slowed compared to previous years. Speaking at the opening session of the Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025 on October 2022, President John Mahama lamented the deplorable state of the World Trade Center, citing the lack of basic utilities such as water. According to him, even accessing water after using the washroom has become a challenge. He also highlighted the more functioning central air conditioning and use of staircase, which have rendered the upper halls difficult to access. He therefore urged the Social Security and National Insurance Trust to allocate parts of the budget of 2026 towards refurbishing the World Trade Center. Well, let's see. Maybe they will do that, and that will turn their tide around. Maybe they can have lots more people coming in to do so. A final story: an ongoing joint investigation by the Ghana Railway Development Authority and the Ghana Police Service has uncovered a disturbing plot by suspected saboteurs attempting to disrupt the newly introduced passenger train service on the Tema-Afenya route. According to a report by some online news network, the investigation follows two deliberate incidents this week targeting new diesel multiple units DMU train recently acquired by the government to revamp railway operations. The act of sabotage occurred consecutively earlier this week. On Monday, October 20, a minor was reportedly coerced into throwing stones at the moving DMU train, destroying the front windshield. And then on Tuesday, a second attempt at sabotage involved placing a large stone directly on the tracks in an apparent effort to derail the train. The DMU is currently providing passenger service between Tema and Afenya on the newly constructed railway line connecting Tema and Mpakadan. The police have since picked up 2 suspects linked to both incidents, a 10-year-old boy and an adult suspect. Now, preliminary stages of the investigation suggest that the saboteurs are paying individuals to carry out these attacks. Investigators have found that the suspects were allegedly paid 20 cedis each as an inducement to perform the damaging act, through underlying motive remains, though underlying motives remain undetermined. Well, it's quite a very sad thing. Sabotage, boy, and the saboteurs need to be seen to. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio UK, a minute after 12, and this is why I have to bring the program to a close. My apologies for not having on, but hey, thank you very much for joining in. It's been a pleasure coming your way. Until I come your way tomorrow, it's been me, your one and only Archie, saying have a top of the day. But we'll take this commercial break, and after that, you don't hear from me, then it's me, Archie. I'm out like that. Stay blessed and enjoy your day. Bye-bye for now. Well, in celebration of Black History Month, BB Clement presents Afro Global Networking Lounge 2025. Speaker, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. The event is taking place on Monday, the 27th of October 2025 from 12 noon to 3 p.m. The venue is Stevenson Howard LLP, 1 Finsbury Green Circus, City of London, EC2 7SH. Please note, this is an exclusive event with limited spaces. For more information, contact reception at augustineclement.com or call 0203-223-0800. The fee comes at £60 for ordinary ticket and $75 for VIPs. This program is sponsored by Stevenson Howard and hosted by BB Clement.
Broadcasting live online.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening. Call the studio now.